Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Howser. Hi, I'm Huell Howser. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Howser. Hi, I'm Huell Howser. Wait a minute. There's a helicopter coming here. Wait a minute. Oh, get out of here. Wow. Look. What is that? Let's get it out of here. Look at this. I thought what was my feet. Look at this. Oh, my God. And there they are, Louie, up there. That is an amazing sight to see as we continue our search for California's gold.
All right, let's get this thing started. Episode 70 of Huell's Gold. I'm Alan.
I'm Chris. And well, first off, that was the most lackadaisical intro you've ever done.
Why?
Because usually I'm the one who's kind of like, all right, here we go. And then you're always like, welcome, serious boy.
Well, today's Flippy Floppy Day.
I guess so. But we're not alone. This week we have a guest. And...
A guest?
A guest. Yes, my longtime friend and wife of former guest Andrew, Monica, is here to talk about the second segment. You're going to hang out the whole time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Even though I don't think... We haven't even asked each other this, if we've been to any of the locations yet, but we should start to talk about the cold open, because this is kind of weird.
Yeah. It's killer, though.
Oh, I see the little segue you got there. Because the episode, as you know, Neat Houses, very nondescript title.
Yeah.
I don't know, would you call this a neat house, technically?
Neat. Interesting history. Sure.
Okay.
Could I know? I mean, about the house itself, the architecture, maybe.
Monica, have you been to Universal Studios before?
I haven't.
Never? And Alan?
That's a negative.
Wow.
Have you?
I did once when I was, I think at 10. And I guess it's changed a ton since then, because they had the
Jurassic Park ride?
Well, that's still there.
It's still there?
Well, it's funny because my other friend, I have more than...
You have a lot of friends.
I guess. Eddie, who is actually going to be on a future episode, I think he's there right now. Should we call Eddie and see...
Yes.
This? If it doesn't work, you'll never be hearing this anyway. But I'm going to try him. I think he's at Universal Studios right now. Come on.
Hello.
Hey, where are you?
Quebec area?
So you're on your way to Universal Studios right now?
Yes.
Okay, so we're recording the show right now, and there is the first segment of this episode is in Universal.
What?
Yeah, it's called Neat Houses, and he's at the Norman Bates Psycho House.
Wait, with the where? Oh, yeah.
So when you get there, call us back and call us from the Psycho House.
Will do.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, that didn't work out exactly. I guess he got a late start, but yeah, I don't remember this from being 10 years old. The Psycho House part of the tram ride.
Oh, the tram ride, yeah.
Because I do remember the tram ride because, there's the Jaws shark. It's a shark. I almost called it a dinosaur 4 times.
Is that still there?
Yeah, that's still there. But when I was on it, the one and only time, a kid threw a quarter in its mouth and it kind of broke.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oliver still tells me that story, too.
Have I told him that story?
Yeah.
I did tell him that story. Oliver's your 11-year-old son, right?
Yes. And he likes Chris's stories. So
I have plenty of them.
Well, we've talked about this with Kathleen and myself, more Kathleen.
Yeah.
That you just need to go straight to being a grandpa.
Yeah, you've
just
said
telling
that.
stories. Just pass the whole thing.
I don't think that's biologically possible, but you
Why
mean
not? Can you adopt a kid with a kid?
like adopt a 14-year-old who's pregnant? Wow, this got weird real quick. I'll pass on that. Anyway, to get back on track a little bit, have either of you actually seen Psycho, the movie, I guess?
So that's a hard no, but I feel like I've seen enough of the key scenes to get an idea.
Yeah.
What do you
The
think?
new one or the old one?
Okay.
I
Are you
haven't
talking
seen
about
it.
American Psycho?
Isn't there a recent? Or no?
Well, there's the show.
That's what it is. I'm thinking.
I don't remember. Aaron watched it all, and I watched some of it with her, like the first season.
I thought it was a movie.
And, are you talking about Christian Bale's movie?
What?
American Psycho?
No, man, that's scarier to me than Psycho.
That's very scary. Yeah.
But Huell is kind of just throwing this in as his little. I don't know what he was doing at Universal, like how he got off the tram ride.
Yeah. Okay. What did that conversation look like? What do you think?
Well, I know that he goes there later on and does some other kind of tour thing, but not for years. So he must have just bum rushed up and just been like,
I think you're right. Because I'm imagining every time that he's trying to take a souvenir from like a national park or just rip the paint off of the ship,
yeah.
he just does it. And he's almost, there was a guy in high school who used to say, if he liked something, he would say, hey, can I have that? And some people would give it to him. I don't know. It's a strategy.
Okay, Monica, you're not as up with the intricacies of Huell Howser. He would. Okay, two things about him. One, he would pick anything and everything up. He's a tactical guy. So, is that tactile?
Tactile?
Is that
I like tactical, though.
tactical? Makes it sound like he's got a vest with a bunch of pockets. But yeah, he would touch things. Have to pick them up. He also had this like industrial arts kind of art collection where it was like old pieces of metal and big old hunks of wood and all these weird things. That's all at the Chapman University Memorial Fun Run for the Cure. No, what's the dang thing called?
What?
The Huell Howser Memorial
Archives?
Archives.
Oh, he said the fun run. What?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, he's
watching too much Office lately.
He's a collector.
Yeah. So, what did we get started on that?
Just how did he get out of the tram? Did he just get out of the tram? Hey, so we're doing a show, so I'm gonna get out of the tram. Yeah. Some poor person that works there. Okay.
And because I've seen videos of that part more recently because of Eddie, who was just on the show, telling me all about the details of Universal, because they're as much freaky as Train Freaks can be. They are about Universal Studios.
Oh, about
him and his
okay.
wife Crystal. They have the season pass or like the annual pass. I think this is the 3rd year running, and they get their money's worth out of that thing.
You know what? That makes me want to go though. Someone's that passionate about.
Right?
Yeah, and they got the inside info on like what to do, where to go, what's worth it, and everything. That's why I know that Jurassic Park is still a ride, because they're bummed right now because it's closed down because they're renovating it to.
Oh, I see.
To update it.
Yeah, to the like Jurassic World.
I like it
era
because it's
stuff.
almost like a new realm, like Disneyland, like that arbitrage. Like, oh, how do we save time going to different things, like different rides and getting the fast passes?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost that they're going to different parks now and doing that. Like they're exploring.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And
Is a Harry Potter one? They're at Universal Studios
Yeah.
as well.
yeah, and they're freaking out right now because I guess it's like the dark arts special time right now,
Okay.
and they were, I guess. He was telling me all about this. It was so funny. They just do like light projections on the castle, and I guess it's like super high tech and it's cool looking. And then there's a point where there's if you don't know Harry Potter, this is all going to sound silly. There's the Patronus, which you just watched this all recently.
Yeah. I have my own sayings.
This was one of your things that you had never seen before.
Right.
Okay, so the Patronus is like being projected on the castle, and then it kind of walks off. But then all of a sudden, there's like you know how they do those drone synchronized things, where like a bunch of drones are synchronized into like a pattern of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
It was that in that shape, and it's this big deer walking, but it's all these drones.
Drones?
I'll show you the video later.
That's cool.
I'll show you the video later. Anyway, this is not at all what this episode's about.
It's Universal. I mean,
Hey, I guess.
a little bit.
So we're all going to Universal? Is that what we're saying?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds fun.
My parents went when I was little, and they left me at my grandma's, so it always left that sour
What?
taste in
I
my mouth.
thought you were going to say they left me there.
They went to Universal Studios and left me at my grandma's for a couple of days, and I was like, "What's
That's
Universal
brutal.
Studios?" So I just decided I wasn't going to go, but I think I'm ready to go now. So
It's been a while, right?
yeah,
Does that happen? That is brutal, though. Like, I've heard of couples doing that. Like, doing big trips or even Disneyland. That seems like the ultimate dagger in the back.
It makes sense to me now, but back
'Cause-
then,
Yeah. Well, don't you think? Let me ask you this: as a person who doesn't have kids versus someone who has them, I think I would just lie to them. Say, "Oh, we're going to 5 doctor's appointments. You don't want to go." So something like that, and then go.
I
Like,
think
would you lie to them?
that's hard when you have the digital age with pictures and
Okay.
social media and people seeing
Yeah.
that and asking you. But
Because I've been around your kids a lot of times, and they kind of can get information out of you.
oh yeah,
But just hounding with questions and
Yes.
stuff, it'd be hard to keep it a secret. Okay. That makes sense. I was going to say, like, I'm down to help you lie to your kids if you want.
Just the most boring story
no,
ever.
I don't mind
Yeah.
telling them the truth. So.
Because that's kind of similar
It's
to
probably a good thing. Yeah.
your mom telling you that the big power plant out on
No, the oil refinery.
the oil refinery on Rosedale Highway was Disneyland.
You're right.
What?
She would tell me that, and then because it was always at night when we drove by, she's like, "Well, it's too late. We can't go now."
Oh no!
Yeah, she was brutal.
Oh,
Did
man.
it look like Disneyland, like what you
You know,
envisioned?
as a dumb kid, I'm trying to remember it's what I was.
Because what would you have to base it on, like your visions of Disneyland?
I'd never been. I'd never been
You'd
to
never
Disneyland.
been. And what? They maybe showed it on TV.
And all the stuff is she could easily explain away. Where's the big castle?
Oh, it's behind.
And then she would say, "Oh, it's behind. You can't see it." Oh, okay. Well, one day, the fact that I knew it was in proximity, I didn't really need to go as long as I had the psychological. People do that.
I
They
guess.
do it with like national forests and stuff. The fact that it's there, even though I don't go, I like it.
Okay.
So it's sort of like
You're
that.
just like the idea that it's there. You don't
Yeah.
need to.
Sounds like you had a rough childhood.
Yeah, it was a trip.
Okay,
Still overcoming. Yeah.
we need to get into this thing because there's a whole lot going on here. So let's get it going with Neat House number 1.
Now, in case you're wondering just who all these people are and why they all look so happy, let me introduce them to you. They're all former California governors and their families. And all these pictures are made at home, the same home, because all these families lived in the same house, starting with Governor George Pardee in 1903 and ending with the Reagans in 1967. They all lived in this beautiful old Victorian residence located on the corner of 16th and H in downtown Sacramento. This is the home that served as our state's official governor's mansion, home to 13 different governors. These days, it's a state historic park and open 7 days a week for public tours. Now, when you look at this grand old house, you immediately think about all the history, all the interesting and colorful stories it must hold. And to hear some of these stories firsthand, we spent the morning with Kathleen Brown, daughter of former Governor Pat Brown, who spent her teenage years growing up in this house. Now, this was a real VIP inside tour, and as we quickly discovered from Kathleen, this was indeed a very special place to live.
All right, so the governor's mansion. Well, okay. Who's been to Sacramento in this room here? Alan, Monica.
Me.
I have not.
Okay. I've been like short little stints. The first time I went was with Andrew when he took me up there to see one of our favorite bands, Sonic Youth, for my birthday. And we rented a car because neither of us had a good car at all. And I just rented like the cheapest car. And then when I get to the car rental place, they upgraded us. Upgraded. to a PT Cruiser.
Oh, dude, convertible? That's always
No,
my question.
unfortunately not.
What year was this?
That would have been 2007,
Okay.
2006, 2007. I think, yeah, he and I were living together. Had you two met by then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he doesn't like PT Cruisers now, so
Well, no.
was that a bad experience?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's an uncomfortable car. My sister had one too.
Okay.
It's configured really weirdly, and it gets horrible gas mileage. So we spent like,
It doesn't matter as long as it looks good, right?
I guess,
Good.
sure.
Who likes PT Cruisers? Is that a thing?
My sister did for a while, I guess.
That's funny.
We actually drove it back when she moved from Seattle back here. My mom and I drove it back all the way here. So I don't like, that's too many road trips in a PT Cruiser. But I haven't seen this mansion at all. I haven't been in this area of Sacramento. You've been near it?
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah. Sure, I passed it.
Yeah.
Because so when we lived in Pleasanton, because we like the valley,
Uh-huh.
we like the people in the valley, we just like the valley, and we had to choose between going to Oakland, Berkeley when we wanted to get out of Pleasanton to go do something, or San Francisco. And the Oakland and Berkeley, that's pretty easy to get to. But San Francisco is kind of it's a mission to get over there. You got to cross the bridge, whatever. It sounds like such.
Yeah,
people
you're
that-
being a little picky about it.
little
right now.
picky, but we always chose to go to Sacramento. That was always first on our list. And we do that, and then we go. So anyways,
Okay.
so we spent a lot of time in Midtown.
Is that where this is?
This is, technically, it's like northeast downtown, but they all bleed
Yeah,
together.
if you're from
the boundaries
Sacramento,
are pretty
you know this.
fuzzy, yeah. But yeah, we used to go have I think we had one of our anniversaries in Sacramento.
Oh.
We ate at Cafeteria 15L. We've eaten at South. Anyway, there's just there's really good food in Sacramento and coffee. So that's it.
Like fancy places?
I don't know. No,
I'm just segueing because this is such a fancy house.
Yeah. Definitely have eaten in a mansion before.
This one?
Yeah, this one. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That would be funny if this
That'd be
whole
super
thing
funny.
before was just a lie.
It was a ballroom or something I ate in.
It's like I ate there, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what you heard in the clip and what's going on here is we're at the California governor's mansion, and in the clip you heard Huell say like, oh, something about the pictures, and there were all these kind of, I don't know, snapshot style candid pictures of old governors and their families just chilling at home with no context.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just saw on your notes something spelled out phonetically that will come up soon that I also wrote out the same way. Okay, getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting a tour of this place, as you heard from Kathleen Brown, daughter of Pat Brown, sister of just out of office for the second time, Jerry Brown.
Yeah. Old JB's little sis. She's the youngest sister.
Isn't Jerry with a G?
What? No, Gerald. It's Jerry. Yeah.
Is it? I don't believe
Yeah.
either of you. We need to look
His
this
name's
up.
Gerald, though. You're
No,
right on that one.
We're looking it up.
Okay.
This is amazing.
Okay, so yeah,
Eddie Jerry Brown Jr.
Edmund Gerald
Gerald
Brown Jr. So that means he's a junior. That means that Pat Brown also was named this.
Senior. Yeah.
But why was he Pat? Wait, okay.
I think it was more. I don't know, man. I got to look it up.
We're gonna do it
we
again?
really have to do it again?
All right, yeah.
I don't know why. It's
You should have looked at it the first time. Sorry. Here we go again.
This is amazing.
All right. So this is sort of a deep cut, but
Yeah.
not really, because everyone knows who Patrick Henry is.
Sure.
Well, anyway, look up Patrick Henry because we're not going to go back.
Yeah.
But so it's a reference to Patrick Henry. I guess when he used to his little spiel.
Pat Brown would do this, right?
Pat Brown would do this. When he was 12 and selling Liberty bonds on street corners, he would end his spiel with "Give me liberty or give me death," And so he acquired the nickname Pat or Patty or Pat, whatever.
Yeah.
No, Patty, I'm just kidding.
Either way. So that's the deal with Pat Brown, who's... Okay, so let's get our people straight. Pat Brown was the governor at the time when our tour guide here, Kathleen Brown, his daughter, was a teenager.
Yes.
And that was between the years of 1959 and 1966. And right off the bat, Huell kind of cuts her down to size, I think, a little bit. Be like, okay, so you lived here the whole time? Oh, well, no. Like, I was away at school, so I spent summers here. And I did get married during that time.
And they brought their child back, right?
That I think is one of the funniest like little telling things of Huell. Did you notice?
Mm-mm.
Monica, you watched this segment, right? Okay. There's the part when they're walking up the stairs. We see it. It's about 5 minutes and 31 seconds into this thing. And Kathleen is talking about like, oh, these are the stairs that I brought my baby up. And Huell's just like, oh, this is pretty big stairs. And just cuts, like, doesn't want to hear about the baby at all. I mean, unmarried guy with no kids. Maybe not going to be the most sympathetic to the baby bringing home story.
Right. It's cool for her. That's basically what he said.
Yeah. Honestly, this is a house tour. Like,
no doubt. Yeah.
What I don't. If we sit here and talk about the whole thing, it's going to end up being
we're giving the tour of a tour.
Exactly.
So I think we could just mention a few things, though.
There's like certain specific things.
First thing, once they go up the first set of stairs, which isn't the last,
not even close.
We come across a big hallway, and Kathleen says, which is weird saying Kathleen's name as another person. Kathleen says, "Big hallway to do cartwheels in."
Yes.
It's like, okay.
And okay, she's a teenager. She talks about coming. Okay, that was at 6 minutes 48 seconds. There's this wacky old lamp, and I want to talk about the lamp and its potential owner in a second. But the cartwheel thing, I don't know. Maybe you can give us the teenage girl perspective. When you came home with a good grade when you were like 16, were you doing cartwheels?
No, never. But I did appreciate her connection with her teenage girl years because she kept mentioning that several times. That and so me being, I used to be a teenage girl, but yeah, just seeing like the whole it reminded me like Little Women and all that. So I thought that was really neat and what her girlfriends would do when they threw the water balloons out the house, which comes later, but.
Because, I mean, the fact that she got to... she lived in San Francisco with her, like, lawyer dad. So I don't think she had, like, a horrible childhood before this, but she did get to move into a giant Victorian mansion for her teenage years, so...
Pretty rough.
Yeah, right.
You think it was like Disney's First Kid?
What?
The California version? Have you seen First Kid?
Oh, I thought... You said Disney's First Kid. I thought you meant Walt Disney's first kid,
I should have
daughter.
said that. Disney's.
No.
First Kid.
Disney Pictures.
Disney Pictures,
First Kid. Yeah, I have, with Sinbad.
Yeah, it's like that.
Of course. Okay. Anyway, the lamp you mentioned, there was
her
this...
bedroom, right?
This was her bedroom, and she kept mentioning a name. Honey Bear Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, I already did the lookup. We don't have to look it up. That was Earl Warren's daughter. And if there's one person that she mentions more than anyone in this entire segment, it's good old Earl Warren. Did you notice she says his name like 16 times?
Yep.
And then who would have ever thought that she would know by name his youngest daughter's nickname of Honey Bear?
Oh. That's, yeah.
It's weird. I think she's got a little,
she likes the Warren
political
family?
crush on the Warrens a little bit.
Really? Well,
Political, like she
I
admires
agree
them.
with that. I can see it.
So yeah, we see her room.
But we have to say, how much of this room was really hers?
Well, yeah.
Because Huell mentions the decoration. And she's like, well, there's not much you can change, The state owns the house.
Yeah. And then we get to her mom's room.
Yeah, we heard that. Mom's room.
Mama's room. Separate rooms, mom and dad.
Like Niles and Maris.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about this mom's room? It's like pink, rose-colored extravaganza going on in there. There's one thing that could sum this up, right?
Yep. Elegant.
And that's what Huell calls it. This is elegant. And it just like stops her in her tracks for about a second. And she's like, oh, yeah.
He did seem pretty excited about this room, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's very taken with this whole place.
It's a fun room, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a Madonna Inn room.
It is like a Madonna Inn room.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's funny because we go to like the main governor's bedroom, I guess, and it's much more on the masculine side. It's got the dark blues, dark wood.
Mm-hmm.
It's just even the wallpaper. Yeah, the whole thing is.
And he asks her if this is always a governor's room, right?
Yeah.
But she doesn't really give an answer to it.
Yeah, I guess like they can kind of choose, but
which doesn't make sense because
no, because I assume it's kind of like the White House where Trump is sleeping in the same room that like Reagan slept in. There's not a lot of,
or it's Mitch Hedberg.
What is
Says,
that?
what if I want to sleep in the kitchen? That could be a better room.
You're getting deep with the references today.
That's true though.
There was one little thing that we forgot about the mom's room is that she talked about how there was the closet that was full of these wrapped gifts and stuff that she would re-gift. So people would give her stuff and she was just re-gifting it back. She's outing her mom like 40 years later as a re-gifter. I don't know.
What room is this?
This, at about 10 minutes, 20 seconds, it's what she kept calling the ballroom.
And this is the upstairs, right?
Third floor. And I guess there was the two rooms that we're seeing here. First is like this big oval-shaped room, and then you go over to the other side, and it's a big office. Used to be one giant room where they would do all of the entertaining. And I guess that was more of like the early 1900s era of governorship here. Because, again, she mentions Earl Warren separated the wall, or put the wall separating the two rooms. And I think she mentions Earl Warren again in about 10 seconds. We go up to the fourth floor.
That's my favorite part.
The cupola.
Had you ever heard that word before?
I've never heard that word before. I don't know how to spell it. I just put it on there. And
How
it's
did
a
you
bunch of
spell
red squigglies underneath it.
You put Coopala? I put Coupala.
I'm sure it's that.
Like a coupe car. That's what
it's one of those things where you type it and you're like, that's wrong, but I don't know it the right way. I'm not going to backspace.
And
so
you try and get an autocorrect and it's just like no suggestions.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's as far as I'm going with it.
Yeah. So this upstairs thing, Monica, you says is your favorite.
What if you could only pronounce words that you could spell?
Like
I'm sorry, I just thought of that.
Well, I always realize that I say a lot of words I have no idea how to spell because I'll put them in like a paper I'm writing or something, and I'll put the first letter, and it's just like, not even a clue what the second one might be sometimes. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but still.
Right.
You realize, like, can I even define this word either?
So I said double entendre.
What are we talking about?
Words.
Okay.
Sorry, this is what happens on this show.
So
the cupola. You mentioned the water balloon story. Do you remember the whole deal with that?
On Halloween, right?
It was Halloween, yeah.
Yeah, they would play with the lights and they would have water balloons.
Mm-hmm. And
dude, she just drops on people's heads from the floor.
I know. I mean, these kids, they got to know this is the governor's house.
This is Disney's first kid, dude. I'm telling you.
Because it's way up there. It's like 50 feet up, and there are these little windows. And I guess Earl Warren used to... he's a Bakersfield boy, too, so...
He is a Bakersfield boy.
It ties it in. He would have card games up there. Mm-hmm. And as she's describing it, she talks about them having their spirits. And Huell's just kind of like smiling. Yeah, I bet they did.
You know what we didn't mention?
No.
The pearls that she's wearing.
I was going to mention the pearls. I didn't think it was very relevant, but let's see how you tie it in.
It's a, what do you call that? It's
a lot of pearls.
It's a lot of pearls. Describe it that way. But you can't help, it's all of her neck. It's just all pearls.
It's like a whole collar of pearls.
Which is cool.
You think that was a gift from old Patty Brown?
No, I think it was from the Warrens.
You think? Oh, man. The cupola was like a cool part. I wish they had kind of ended it there, but in a way I'm glad they didn't, because then they go down to the dining room.
Yes.
And you can see, as she's like blabbing on about this crystal chandelier, that there's a whole tour of kids that are having to wait for Huell to get out the way.
Wait, before though. Did you notice that when she started talking about politics? Because, well, here's one thing. Huell says the house is warm. He says another word that's sort of like warm. And then he says the homeliness.
Yeah.
Which is like a way to describe something drab. But I think he meant like it's homey.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny that I've used that word in the incorrect way as well when I was trying to compliment Kathleen when we first started dating.
You called her homely?
I said, you look homely.
Wow.
Like it's nice and warm. And it's the same deal. I did the same thing Huell did. So, I get a pass. So get off my back about it.
Does she still call you out on that?
Did she? Oh, yes.
Oh, man.
Well, anyway, so on my notes, obviously, wrong. I've been there, done that in my notes.
Yeah.
But Kathleen, which is kind of funny, in response to that, of homeliness, but she says, no, the civility of the house is what worked. Mm-hmm. And then she goes into her political hoopla about that's something we're missing in our politics today. Huell could care less. He just starts looking, chandelier.
Yeah.
And that's what they talk. She goes on about the chandelier. Yeah.
That's good. Has Andrew ever called you homely before?
Not yet.
Oh, it's funny. Again, your husband Andrew was on the show like 10 episodes back about oil. It's fun. A lot of our friends started off listening to the show and have trailed off.
Oh, yeah.
Totally fine. I wouldn't listen to it either. Just kidding. He has been one of these that has just been like, it took a while to catch up, but now he's like on it. So as soon as it drops, he is like texting me responses to it. And he works at night a lot of times. So you being on the show is obviously going to prompt a lot of discussion between you and him, me and him, whatever. And because he's working his night shift right now, right?
He is, yeah.
I suspect that Sunday night I will be getting some like 3 a.m. texts about stuff. And that will be about this, yeah. So you can say anything that you want him to hear in 2 days, because it'll be a funny, personal thing for him. Sorry, Andrew. Yeah. You're taking a pass on that, I guess.
No, I haven't thought about it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Hey, honey. Text me when you start listening to this. But I did want to give a shout out, because when I was leaving my house this morning, the kids all ran out of the house in their pajamas and told me to say hi to them on the show. So, hi, Oliver. Hi, Amelia. And hi, Ramona. Love you guys.
Yep. See you
That's fun.
soon. I see him like once a week.
Okay. So you mentioned the group of students.
Yeah.
Did you notice any of their apparel?
I tried. It's kind of hard because they're not really in frame very well.
Don't worry. I took a screenshot of one.
What'd you catch?
Kid. Okay. Do you remember the Cowboys hats? And it was NFL in general, but they were painted. They had like a streak of paint.
Vaguely. I'll look at the screenshot later, but...
Okay. My brother had the exact same one, and I was taken back straight to my childhood, and it was horrifying.
I mean, Because you hated the Dallas Cowboys, or because you hated that style of hat?
I didn't really like the hat. Well, the hat's kind of cool. It's nostalgic. But it reminds me of when he said, "Oh man, I got so many more of these coins than you have of those coins. So let's just trade because
What are you talking about?
I'll tell you right now. Okay. Bro gave me so many pennies for all my nickels. He swindled me as a kid. Then we would box, and he would give me the left-handed glove because we had to share a set of gloves.
Man,
so that's what I was taken back to that.
You've told me many other stories about him too. That
Whew. It was a good childhood. But that hat, because he would wear it because you always buy the adult hats, and they're like the last clip. They're so tight. And so that kid reminded me of my childhood. But also, I think whoever's leading the tour, was asking everyone to take off their hats because toward the end there, multiple people take off their hats.
That's kind of like a school rule.
True.
Having been in a school and had to ask kids to take their hats and hoods off.
Was it when she was talking
50
about
times.
Civility?
Oh, true.
Possibly.
I mean, they're in politically holy ground there.
Yeah.
The Warrens live there.
So start worshiping.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to get to part 2 here. And the main reason that Monica's here, because she had more experience than anyone I'll ever know at this place.
I did.
I'm excited for this.
Okay, let's hear where we're going.
Our search for another neat house that no one lives in anymore next took us through some beautiful country. Springtime in Tulare County, everything fresh and green. Our destination was just a few miles outside the community of Springville in the Sierra Nevada foothills, directly below Sequoia National Park. Now we were heading for the Outdoor School of Science and Conservation, located on 1,100 acres of magnificent land and operated by the Tulare County Office of Education. You see, for 37 years now, the 6th graders from all over Tulare County have been coming to this school for a week at a time and learning firsthand about geology, biology, astronomy, forestry, and natural resources. Its abbreviated name is Scicon, and it's really a neat place. The kids love it. Over 7,000 students a year come here. Okay, we're off. Here we go. We were there to take a hike to a cabin located on top of one of the mountains, about 3,500 feet up. A legendary cabin originally built by miners in the last century. A place that back in the 1940s and 50s and 60s became home for an honest-to-goodness hermit. We were in search of a hermit's cabin. And to get to the cabin, we would have to hike several miles. You can't get there by car or jeep or anything except foot power. And we would be led on this adventure by 87-year-old Lyle Chrisman, a man of enormous energy who's been taking Scicon kids up to the cabin for 20 years now. So he's almost as legendary as the cabin is.
Okay, so Scicon. Yep. Okay, so let's put this thing in perspective.
Scicon, P-S-Y-C?
Okay, we had a discussion about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I called it Scicon, like P-S-Y-C-O-N, and you called it PsychCon. Like, psych, I'm not doing that. Con. And then I said, what is that short for? Like, psychedelic conference?
Bro.
But then on the show here, it showed it as SCICON, as in science conference. I don't know. I still don't know exactly what.
Well, because Huell calls it the School of Science and Conservation.
Yeah. It's really
science
long.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of stretching the name just to sound cool, but it looks cool.
Either way, I remember...
So when you texted me the name, you were playing too, right?
No, I didn't know how it was spelled yet.
Oh, I thought you were playing with words, so I went along with that.
Oh, okay, no.
Dude.
I totally was just being an idiot because I don't know.
I thought you were playing with words and letters, and so I did this.
Okay.
That's why I said
PsychCon. So Huell kind of explains it, what this thing is, that it's just this like a nature.
It was my Disneyland, my Universal Studios.
Okay, let's put the whole thing in perspective as far as you're concerned, because this takes place in Tulare County, and Alan and I have talked about Camp Keep a couple times on here, and that's the Kern County version of this.
Is it the Kern Environmental Education Program?
Exactly, yeah.
Dude, I did not know that until we talked about it last time.
Really?
We just called it Camp Keep.
That's what it is.
Like,
yeah.
keep on having fun. Or keep, right? We're stupid. We're 10 years
same
old.
with DARE. What does DARE mean?
Drug Awareness and Resistance Education?
Drug Abuse Resistance Education.
I like mine better, though.
You have to resist the awareness?
No, Drug Awareness and Resistance Education.
And resistance. So you're being aware, resisting.
Yes.
Get away. No, Scicon, which is like scientific conservation, something or other, as Huell said. That's the Tulare County version of this. And because you technically at the time lived in Tulare County by about 1.5 miles, you got to go here instead of Camp Keep because you grew up where?
Early Mart, California.
Yeah. And
I was so confused on this because Chris told me, I said, no, she grew up. It's a few minutes north of McFarland, right? It's like 10 minutes?
North? It's about, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Is that the closest city, right, to Early Mart? No?
Delano.
Delano, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Delano,
Man,
and then Early Mart.
I'm messed up, yeah.
And then Pixley.
That's right, Pixley, yeah.
Yeah.
Because technically it's like super duper South Tulare County. And Delano's super North Kern County.
Yeah, they're like right at the border.
They're so close to each other. I like how I didn't even know that Delano was above McFarland. I'm a failure. Kern County failure. Anyway.
Delano's like the...
It's
like the second or third biggest city in
It's a pretty
Kern
decent
County
sized
now.
city, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Unlike Early Mart, though.
It's growing. It's getting there.
It actually did grow. I was looking it up, and the 2000 census had it at about 6,200 people. 2010, 8,200 people.
Wow.
And 2,000 people in a city, that's like a margin of error for LA.
Right.
But for Early Mart, that's like
I think the percentage
it's like
change.
30% more people. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Where are they all living now? They build new houses out there.
I don't think so.
People having kids, I guess.
Well, anyway, I was confused because I said, why would Monica go to a Tulare camp? I realized they're so
right there.
close to each other.
They're
the
5
border.
miles, so the county line is like the first exit to Delano.
Okay, I have a question. I have a
County
question
line
for you
road,
then,
yeah.
because you could have done this a lot easier. Okay, so when I was going to Camp Keep, when we were crossing counties, I stretched out my leg. I did the splits on the bus, and then I yelled out, 2 counties at once. Did you do that at all?
No, I did not.
Sorry. Yeah.
Did anyone else acknowledge that you
No,
were
no one
too
cared.
ca-
Just, okay. Might be one kid.
This is really telling of you as a
This is
child.
why your mom didn't take you to Disney.
I know. I can't deal with this right now. It's like, just for that, we're not taking you to Universal Studios. We're not taking you to Knott's Berry Farm. We'll barely take you to Six Flags.
Oh, man. So, kind of, I guess, explain what Early Mart is, because most people may have heard of the town.
Yeah, it's a small town as far as I remember it. And not that I never go anymore, but I still do. But it's an agricultural town, so there's a lot of farm workers. It's mostly farm workers that live there. So culturally, we don't go camping. Our families don't take us, to Universal Studios or to go camping in the outdoors or hiking, much less.
So getting to do Scicon was like the big excitement of your elementary years.
You were psyched.
Oh, yeah.
Psyched for Scicon.
Yes.
Like it.
So, okay, one thing you have to explain, because the name of the town is Early Mart.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story behind that exactly?
No. I should have looked it up.
As far as I've always remembered, and I haven't been able to definitively back this up, is that there was an actual Early Mart, like a store.
Okay.
I mean,
I've
sounds.
I've heard that, but
Yeah.
It was more of a joke, so I didn't know if it was true or not.
No, I always thought of it as like legit. That was it. Alan, are you looking it up?
Looking it up right now. Let's see. Community members changed its name to Early Mart from Alia, A-L-I-L-A.
Sure.
Let's go with that. Choosing that name because the variety of melons grown by local farmers ripened early, and thus were considered early to market, hence Early Mart.
Oh.
So wrong. There's the definitive proof. Well, definitive according to Wikipedia, so.
You know.
I like that story a lot better than, there was a market that opened early. Oh, it does sound so jokey now compared to a real thing. Okay, so Early Mart, tiny town.
Yes.
And getting to do something like Scicon is a big deal, you said. And
yeah, most of us were first generation Mexican Americans, so this was new. My mom didn't let me go, but once my teacher found out I wasn't going, she talked to her and convinced her to let me go.
What was her argument? Do you remember?
She just wasn't comfortable letting me go away for a whole week. I mean, it was a 5-day trip,
a whole week.
So I've never...
Would you let Oliver go for...
I've done it already. He's gone.
Where did he go?
Church camp, 7 days.
Yeah.
7 days, though. It's... My mom, when she sent me, I think my mom said she was a good mom. Like, it's make her sound so funny. But
I think most of these things she did was like almost as a joke to like goof on you.
Well, this one, I think I withheld a lot of information about the specifics
of Camp Keep.
And so she wanted me to be comfortable. So she packed me with 1 pair of pants and 3 pairs of shorts. And you can't wear shorts at Camp Keep. So my jeans smelled like so much smoke.
Oh, yeah, because of the campfires.
So.
Oh, man.
But, yeah.
So.
I don't know if that added to anything, but.
As far. Yeah. As far as the Scicon we see in this show, we can't tell exactly when this was filmed because it was released in 1996, which is when you went, right?
Oh.
So this is definitely
like in April, I think. April 1996.
Okay. So this is definitely like the same era. Yes, you're not in this episode, kids. So you weren't there.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, not to stereotype, but there's a fair amount of Caucasian faces in this crowd. So I'm thinking maybe this was not the Early Mart Elementary crew.
Maybe, yeah, probably not.
This maybe was like the Visalia School or something, somewhere.
Sure, yeah.
But if you went during the same time, this has got to look like exactly what you saw, right?
Yes, that's how I remember it. The fence right there as well. Walking through that.
It's right about like 19 minutes in the show. And the first person we get to hear about is
none
Lyle.
Other than the Tulare Trekker.
Is that his name?
That's the name we're giving him.
Oh, okay.
Lyle?
Yeah.
Is that you wanted to get in there?
Yeah.
Lyle Christman.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is.
You have his autograph.
Cool. Dude,
if that's him. What if someone else signed it for him?
No way.
Know.
Well, because he would have been what? Huell said he's 87.
That's pretty. I don't know. It's a good-looking, sturdy signature for an 87-year-old. I don't know.
Well, maybe
it kind of looks like my grandma's handwriting. So
it just had someone else do it.
Yeah.
I was going to say if he could write as well as he could hike. There's a chance.
Lyle is just steamrolling up this mountain.
You just never see it. He never talks. He just keeps going.
Yeah. And, okay, so at the time...
He doesn't even talk, right? He just...
No, not really.
So you got to meet Lyle then, because he would have led the...
I don't know. I don't remember him. I don't think I did.
Well, he's such a quiet guy. I mean, if he didn't talk to you...
Yeah.
All I remember were the high school counselors. So I've always wondered how long this hike was, because it just felt like it just went on forever. And but he says several miles, but they don't ever say specifically how many miles.
Well, on the Scicon website, because Scicon is still a thing, it's still serving the Tulare County community the same way.
Say?
It said, I think it was 2.5 miles,
really?
something like that, Which is funny because
that was the most I had ever walked in my entire life up to that point.
Well, it's because you brought some pictures, and
did.
we're gonna throw some up.
Yeah.
And where's the one of you?
The sunflower.
Yeah.
It should be in there.
It's right here.
There it is.
So we're not even to the point in the episode where this happens, but the whole point is we're getting to that hermit cabin that you heard about in the clip. And there's a picture of 12-year-old you in front of the cabin.
Yep.
And, you know.
It was my Kmart sweater.
The sunflower sweater.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't look thrilled because you just hiked that long hike. And what was the thing you were telling me earlier about the curling irons and stuff? Not to throw your hair under the bus here, but...
So in 6th grade, curling iron bangs, hair bangs were a big thing with the 6th grade Mexican girls. So
I think that transcended race for sure, because I saw many a girl of all shapes, sizes, and colors with the
hairspray and the curling
iron
curl.
Yeah.
So then we found out we couldn't bring any electronics to Scicon, including curling irons.
That'd be brutal.
So when
I don't think we were allowed to bring things like that to Camp Keep. Not that I had curling irons.
No,
but
but you could bring your LA style though if you wanted to.
The gels?
Gel up your hair, super hold.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big part of our morning routine. So when you see the pictures of my cabin buddies and friends, you can tell we all were suffering the no curling iron ban that week.
It's like we're in it together.
And we all had the frizzy hair, and so anyway. But yeah, so this picture, it was a really, really long hike. And the high school counselors were super mean because a lot of oh yeah, during that hike, because a lot of us had a hard time with it, and so I just remember the high school counselors were, hurry up,
just impatient
keep
with
going.
you. Yeah,
and you had like these little chubby girls sitting on a rock like panting, and it was rough, even for me. So,
because the same deal where there were high schoolers as counselors for us 6th graders at Camp Keep and Scicon. How they decided to let like 15, 16, I think you had to be 16 or 17 from what I remember in high school, because I almost signed up to be one. Which is so silly because I had such a horrible time at Camp Keep. I don't know why I wanted to relive that memory. Thinking back now, in our 30s now, how the heck do they let these 16-year-olds be in charge of like idiot kids?
I don't know.
There's no answer.
I just remember like
makes no sense.
my counselor. I was talking to Kathleen about it yesterday because she has a super embarrassing story with hers, but I won't tell it.
What is it? What was it called down there? And
she doesn't. It wasn't. It was just science camp.
Oh, that's just what they call it.
Yeah, I think it was at Lake Arrowhead.
Okay. What county is that down there?
What county is she from?
Yeah.
Riverside County.
Okay.
Yeah. But I had a guy. He wore a flame beanie, had an eyebrow piercing, and he had a little soul patch. A little wispy soul patch. His name was Jeremy. And I remember because I thought he was Jeremy. So cool, dude. He wore like the tank tops, like a white tank undershirt. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was so embarrassed because I had to use the restroom at night more than once.
Oh,
one night.
Yeah.
And I remember I woke up and said, "Hey, Jeremy," like whatever as a kid. And he goes, "Alan, I'm going to say something right now. You don't." Okay. Man. He's like, "You don't have to wake me up to use the restroom. Just go do it." Dude, that was a Wednesday. He roasted me, dude.
How many? And this is a Wednesday. That means 2 other nights.
2 other nights. He was like, "Oh man, Jeremy hates me, man." Then everyone was afraid to take a shower because there weren't any doors.
Yes.
And people would take people's like tidy whities and try to hang them on the rafters. Oh, gosh. It was pretty. Well, the boys. I don't know how the girls were, but
I don't know.
That's what the boys
what kind
did.
Of underwear they were wearing, but
I don't know why I even brought that up.
You know. Well, nothing can beat my Camp Keep story. I've never told it on this show. I've said it multiple times that I've told the story in detail on our buddy Chaz's podcast called Diarrhea Diaries. That might give away a little bit of what happened to me in that story. Oliver, your son, it's one of his favorite stories of mine that I've told him.
Hi, Oliver.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll tell it. It's too long to tell. We're already like pretty long into this episode. So basically, like, what needs to be known about the show here is the kids in the show make it to the cabin, just as you did in your experience of it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they all go in the cabin and they all just sit down.
Well, they kind of stand around first, and they're like, this is
it?
This is why we came up here. But,
So did you know at the time, maybe you wouldn't have even paid attention to this, that that's not the original cabin?
yes, I think I remember hearing that. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, I guess I'm just okay with lying to kids. I figured that they would just
Yeah.
would just tell them it's the real
Especially
thing.
when they gave us a souvenir photo. That I
Yeah.
showed you guys.
'Cause
You
that's-
can tell it looks,
different.
it looks different. Yeah.
So you told me about this, and I'm going to put it on our Instagram page. They give every kid just like a little snapshot picture that says Hermit Cabin, October 18th, 1978. Your name made it up Sky Trail on April 3rd, 1996. Gives you the exact date you were there.
Oh.
Your trail guide, Lyle Chrisman, and it's got his name written on there.
Mm-hmm.
So Lyle was there. He obviously didn't give you that good of an impression.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I was at the very back of the line because
Lyle was obviously way up at the
I had
front.
a hard time keeping up.
So
But,
if you look at the show at 22 minutes and 10 seconds,
the same photo.
the same photo you're holding there is the one that they show on the show.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was neat to see when I was watching the
Mhm.
episode.
Like, I remember when I first saw this episode like a year ago when I was doing all my research for this. I remember texting you back then like, oh man, Scicon, you got to be on this one. Now we're here. I wish so bad that there were cameras at Camp Keep back then to like show the exact what it looked like the same year we were there, because this is
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah. So, you know what we didn't talk about? The multiple times that Huell was out of breath this episode.
Oh yeah. Not only out of breath, drenching his shirt with sweat.
Dude, the chest sweat that he had going on.
It's like this.
It's a rough hike, yeah.
Well, there's a certain thing that
I
happens to
remember
guys
this part, too.
that like overlook there, where like
The
your stomach kind of folds in on your chest a little bit, and it pools
On the sternum.
the bottom of the sternum, and Huell is suffering from that sweat spot there.
Yeah.
Um,
But he does it. So once they're in the cabin, he asks the students, he says, so what do you think? And one of the responses is, I thought it'd be bigger.
yeah,
Like it's such like a kid response. Oh. So we hiked 2.5 miles for this?
And then he asks them if they would want to live there, and one of the girls is like, it'd be lonely up here.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think that was the point. We never mentioned his name. I think Huell did in the clip. Hervey Elster. I thought he said Herbie the whole time.
Bro. Thought it was Herbie.
Thought it was Herbie. And then I looked it up on the Scicon website. Irvy, I-R-V-Y. Hervey Elster was the name of the hermit. Did you get like any information on him?
No, he was pretty...
I didn't even write it down because I am going to put the Scicon website up in the show notes so that people can go check it out if they so please. Because there's a whole history of Scicon, how it started, and what's going on there now.
A few things before we get to the other artifact or the monument here.
Yeah.
And that's, did you notice what Rick Mitchell said? Who, by the way, is still with Scicon. So
Is he?
Yeah, he's
I
still
tried
there.
to find that. I couldn't find
He's
anything.
the last person on that staff page.
I guess I didn't go down.
Yeah, he mentions that on a clear day from Herbie's cabin, that you can see the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did.
Through a telescope? Or are we talking...
Could
What-
you
what-
see
what do
the
you- what do
ocean
you
when you
think?
were up there on that overlook?
No, but he said on a clear day, so maybe after a good
That's
rain
that's
or-
hundreds of miles of sky that would need to be crystal clear to be able to see that. it seems pretty rare that might happen.
Right.
So you mentioned Rick. He's kind of been our guide through this whole thing because Lyle was just...
Lyle, yeah.
He was... I like Kyle, too.
He didn't even look at the camera. Right?
No, he was just off.
Went for it, yeah.
Rick was the administrator.
Yep.
And still is the administrator. And it's funny because you pulled a picture of him up from the Scicon website, but I am holding a picture that you took
Is
with...
he in it?
That's him, for sure. With this...
Teachers and staff.
Yeah. Well,
One of
yeah.
3 pictures, yeah.
And there he is, next to this lady with like the vintage Mickey sweatshirt. See that?
Oh, yeah.
That's Ricky Boy, right?
Yeah, that goatee.
Yeah.
Strong.
It's a thick goat. And you can really see the goatee really well at about 23 minutes in when he's holding the Hermit's wooden leg, which is apparently the only piece besides the cabin that's left of this guy. That's kind of the impression that Rick was giving. That the only thing that's left is the cabin that actually blew down and they rebuilt. The flagpole, which is really just a big tree, like a tree trunk.
Well, before we get there, the flagpole, because that's how he would communicate.
I was going to throw it back to that.
Oh, you throw it back. Okay.
The wooden leg, which they talk about the foot positioning of going up. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like engineering thing that he had, like devised there. Okay, tell me what you think about this whole flagpole business. Then I want to get Monica's real deal thoughts because I got a thought here.
Oh, a thought? I was not. It's not really a thought about communicating with the students that he was okay using his red trousers. It was more that I wonder what the first day was like when the kids looked up.
Yeah,
and then he wasn't flying anything.
That's where you go right up. Okay.
And they say, "Where's Irvy?" And then someone has to make the track.
You know it was Lyle.
Oh,
you know it was Lyle. No. So do you remember the flagpole thing?
I think so.
Because you don't have a picture of it, so it didn't make the...
I think the view was more... I mean, I have pictures of the view. This one right here.
Multiple, yeah, with this...
So I think that made a bigger impact than the flagpole.
Because you've probably never seen anything like this.
No, that was my first time ever.
Yeah. My favorite part of your pictures is that you often got heads in them of people. And I like pictures like this because my family took many, many pictures and there's always strangers in them. Because, like, these kind of people that are in these family pictures that you see over the years just become a part of the story. And who knows where the heck this kid in this red hat... You know, it's the Buffalo Bills, isn't it?
Yep, because that's the red,
the
horn.
Yeah. Why this kid from Early Mart had
a laser, by the way? What is that?
Like just speed. It's speed horn.
Well, there were other schools there from different...
Oh, okay, so it wasn't just your school.
But it was Tulare County.
Yeah.
Yeah, still a kid from Tulare County was wearing Buffalo Bills.
Sure, kid, whatever.
Well, I guess this... I mean, you're talking about the leg here. Did you know...
well, let me mention my flagpole thought.
Oh, your flagpole. That's right.
So, as the story goes, homeboy Irvy would communicate with the kids down at the mess hall by flying his clothes up on the flagpole. You mentioned red trousers, but it was actually the red long johns.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, Irvy was flying his underwear to some kids down below.
Right. And you know he probably had one pair.
So what the heck was he doing? Standing up there naked, flying his underwear to the kids down below. I mean, we're making a big thing of nothing, but still.
Right. Well,
maybe he was warning them not to go up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm naked. Don't come up. No hikes. Lyle, stay down there. Okay. Yeah, so that makes more sense.
So the leg with detachable feet.
Uh-huh.
My favorite part, because he had an ascending leg, a descending leg, and then he had...
Sitting.
Well, yeah, exactly. What did Rick call it? He called it his sitting down leg.
Sitting down leg. And that's when they mentioned that he would go down, he would trade stories for food. Okay. I get that they call it a hermit kind of is just like a wildlife homeless person in a way. Like he had a home, and everything, but they mentioned that he was a quartz miner and that he also hunted. What? Like he's mining rock and then hunting. There's more to life than that. Like I wonder what he was doing before Scicon showed up, because he predated Scicon. And then, like, what are these stories he's telling these kids?
Well, and imagine
where they're giving him his food. I don't know.
I just imagine, dude, the camp. It's like, oh, okay, we're just assessing. We should put a camp here. And there's just an old man hermit. It's like, yeah, he'll come down and interact with the kids every once in a while, but that's just old man Elster.
Yeah. Because we need to make this clear. He was long gone before you went there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was just his house you were going to.
What year did he pass? I think they said that at some point. But...
They did. I don't remember, but I can look it up. 1965. So a long time before you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of a tall tale kind of thing nowadays, but...
Could you imagine going to Camp Keep right now, though? And there's just
no.
There's just a man. I'm trying to think of a name, like an old timey name, like Irvy.
Clement.
Yeah, just
I don't know.
Oh, that's old man Clement up there. He'll come down and talk to the kids when you're eating cinnamon rolls on Tuesday. But
well, Oliver's almost at the age where he would get to go to Camp Keep. Are you gonna let him go?
Hopefully next year. That's the plan. He doesn't know that yet, but
and he's a very nature-loving kid, so he's going to be in the element.
Yes, and I think that's because of Scicon, because I got to go to Scicon, and I've...
Look at that, bringing it full circle.
Trying to relive that ever since 1996.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so Scicon is still just Scicon. There's the separate... someone donated a ranch to him now, and there's like a separate thing that you can go to. But the main like Scicon campus of sorts, it's still the same place. Camp Keep is different. The one I went to has long been sold to a church. Okay. So that the one where my crazy stories happen is gone. You went to Alan, you went to the beach one, right?
Beach, yeah.
That's in Morro Bay?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that one's still there, but I think there's like a San Simeon one now also.
I think so, yeah.
So
you have a choice to go, right?
I think it's just what your school decides, right? Okay. And then you follow them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean that's what we had. That was.
I know I did. There was a mountain.
I was 12. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't get to choose.
You were 12. I was 10. I went in 5th grade. When did you go?
6th grade, because I went to elementary school. They had a 6th grade, and then I went to a junior high, not a middle school.
Gotcha.
Most kids do go in 5th grade now.
Okay.
So, but what the heck do I know? I don't know any 5th graders.
Oh, no.
Oliver's a 5th grade, right?
Yeah.
I have pictures
when
I got on the bus for Camp Keep.
You do what?
I have pictures when I got on the bus at Camp Keep.
Why'd you bring? Monica brought all these pictures.
This is Monica's time, not mine.
So is Camp Keep an actual location, or is it a program? Because Scicon is like a location, so is Camp Keep maybe more of a...
I don't know if it started as a location and they had branch campuses, but as far as I know, it's just a program now because...
Well, okay. So we know that Camp Keep exists. We know that Scicon exists. And what was the science camp in...
I'd have to look it up.
Well, I just got to assume that unless you're already like in, like Shasta County or whatever.
It's a current environmental education program.
Yeah, so it's a whole program. Montana to Oro State Park. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Arrowhead Ranch.
That's what it was called?
Arrowhead Ranch Outdoor Science
For
School.
Riverside?
That's their week-long deal.
Okay, so I got to assume that all, or most counties, especially probably like the Southern California counties, have something like this. If they don't, they should. Because obviously it made a huge impression on us in many different ways. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I learned how to take my knuckles and blow into an acorn and make a whistle. That's what I got from it.
I just remember the Live Oak song, but yeah.
That's a good one too.
We sang that one too.
Oh, that was across county lines, I guess.
I think so. you want to sing it and see if it...
I don't remember it. Maybe I'll find a version and put it on the end of the episode.
Live Oak, right?
Yeah, I think I got it here.
Well, you got the whole thing?
Well, I gotta find a good one. But look, Scicon. One of the first things that pops up, a CD.
Wait, and then what's the PDF from there?
I think it's a
1-800-lyrics.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, there it is.
What is it?
This is like the sheet.
It's like the lyric sheet.
Oh, yay. Let me see that. For Scicon?
Yeah. So, okay, the second line. Live Oak. Ooh, baby, let your xylem flow. Yeah. What is a xylem? I've always wondered that. Okay, we need to look that up.
Okay, let's look it up.
This is amazing.
Okay, so...
Yeah, because you probably thought xylem was like pouring out of a tree.
I thought it was talking about a xylophone. That's what I always thought.
Let your xylem phone.
Well, what is it? Read what a xylem is.
Okay, it's a vascular tissue in plants that conducts water and dissolved nutrients up from the root and also helps to form the woody element in the stem.
Okay. So, in the context of the song, because it's about oaks, it's an oak tree. Mm-hmm. Let your xylem flow. Get the juices flowing up. Create that tall live oak tree.
Be nurtured.
Yeah.
Figuratively and literally. Wow. That's a deep song.
It is.
Okay.
Maybe we should do a line-by-line breakdown on YouTube or something.
Yeah,
Not here.
That'll get the watches on YouTube. Okay, well, I mean that's kind of the end of the California's Gold episode. Like it ends with Huell in front of the cabin and then just appreciating the view, which, you know, on TV looks like any old view, but to sixth grade Monica, it changed your outlook.
It did.
Yeah.
And my parenting.
Yeah, it did.
That's deep.
Was there any other stories from there that you remember besides what had context? Like any?
The food was really good. That was, I think, my first time having like real maple syrup and with pancakes.
That was said that the Camp Keep food. I forget who we were just talking about. Camp Keep food with someone a couple weeks ago. I don't remember who it was. They also mentioned the food being
the Chaz.
Yeah, I think because he went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you guys have square dancing? We had square dancing.
I didn't.
Square dancing.
I mean, we had to do that for PE, but
I don't know. No, it wasn't mandatory if it was there.
No.
Okay.
It's fun though.
So yours overall good experience.
It was a beautiful experience.
Okay. Camp Keep is kind of a stain on my life, but Alan, yours
just stain in your underwear as well.
Hey, yeah, a little bit. R.I.P. that pair. Let's just say it might still be on premises.
Let's see. I'm trying to rate it. The number one experience was being in two counties at once.
So the drive there. Okay.
And then I would give it a solid 7.
All right, that's a C. That's passing.
The best night being they had a blackout. They turned all the lights off. And then we had Star. It was like a night hike with stargazing,
we did
which was the coolest part.
We did a night hike too, and my friend, what was his name? Giovanni, I think his name was. He was so desperately afraid that we had to like hook his arms and carry him.
Really?
He was just paralyzed with fear that there were going to be like bears and mountain lions attacking us the whole time.
I signed up for the astronomy class. I guess I had a telescope, and they were going to take a group of kids to this telescope.
That's the Lyle Chrisman Observatory.
I remember it being the same night as square dancing night, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. I can go see the stars rather than go square dancing. But it was cloudy that night, so they had to cancel it. So I had to go square dancing.
Oh, see, I think you got neither. I was like, that'd be a bummer. What if you square danced under the stars?
That's where I thought this story was going. Like, I tried to go up there, and then we still had to square dance.
Dance, and then I spun, and I looked through a telescope.
Yeah.
Spin your lady up to the scope. Oh, man. So I hope anyone who has kids or was a kid got this experience or gets to have them give them this kind of experience, because it is unique.
Or if you did experience, let us know all the other camps.
Totally,
in
yeah.
California.
Because it's not like something you can easily search, like, what's the camp in this county that 6th graders go to?
There was a Facebook page or a Facebook group for former Scicon students.
Bro, that's cool.
Scicon's really got it together.
I was in that. I think it was started by one of the people who went there when they were a kid. So I don't know if that's still around. But
was it open to like all years? Or just your specific year?
All years. Everyone who had memories of going to Scicon.
Man.
So, yeah.
I think the only group like that I'm in is Highland High 2006. And like 32 people are in it. It's the same. They're just all friends already on Facebook. I want something cooler like that.
Yeah.
Because Camp Keep would be... You'd almost have to create the different... campuses.
Yeah, because people had very different experiences. It was always mountains versus beach.
Yeah.
And it was a different experience for sure.
There's interns from Scicon.
There's all kinds of groups, yeah.
I don't see the one I was. Scicon family, Scicon is fun. Yeah, there's a bunch.
People take this way more seriously than Camp. Keep looking at the number of groups on Facebook.
Maybe it was a demographic. It just made a really big impact.
I think also that it was one specific location, like you said, because Camp Keep was a program. There have been multiple places. Really, okay. Here's another thing. Did they give you shirts?
No.
We had the raccoon shirt.
Okay, the Camp Keep shirt was a big thing. It was like this badge of honor once you got back.
There's a raccoon on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a circular logo.
It's like teal.
Well, yours was.
Yeah.
Mine, like
blue?
a bright green.
Oh, green.
Yeah. Depending on the location. So.
Here it is. I found it. It's a page on Facebook. I have been to Scicon.
Okay.
8.2 thousand people like this.
I'm gonna link that on the show notes too. So if anyone did go, they can also. I was thinking if Jeremy would have gone, but that's Fresno County. Mm-hmm. That's different. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna link that on there too.
Send them the episode.
I know.
Yeah.
We have a friend there, Greg. He runs the coffee shop there.
Oh, Visalia.
Yeah.
We need to ask him.
His whole life. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of it. The Scicon experience that Huell had and you had in the same year. So insane. Where are we going next week?
We're going to a dry lake bed.
That's the name of the episode. That is technically where they're going.
It's very misleading.
It's so much more than that.
Yeah. It's like, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
It's more than that.
Little known fact about Alan. Alan likes cars. Not just like cars in general, but like drag racing, crazy, fast, loud cars.
Yeah. That was part of my childhood too.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I've ever been to a drag race is because you took me.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have a question. Did you have fun?
Oh, more than I ever would have expected. It was. I mean,
we went to the. It was the nitro races that night. Yeah,
and there was the jet car.
The jet car game.
It like caught the fence on fire. It was so insane. So this is like a dry lake bed where all these crazy fools are going out there and drag racing these old cars.
Yeah, and a lot of it's like top speed, sort of, hot rods kind of thing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain a lot of that.
Well, that's almost a different culture. But the drag racing part, it's almost like melded, but it'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good one. Thank you, Monica, for coming and doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we've gotten you and Andrew. Now we just need all your kids and your whole family have been on the. Well, no, Oliver did an intro for us.
Oh, did he?
Like 5-6 episodes ago, he was our intro person.
How did I not know that?
I just recorded him at your house.
Okay.
And then put it on there. So yeah, your daughters. That's it.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I don't know what they'll want to be on. What episode they'll want to be on based on their experiences in life so far.
I'll ask them.
Okay. Well, I guess that's about it. So come along with us. next week and every week.
As we continue our search for
Huell's Gold.